Thanks very much. Yes, I'll give you a little bit of my background as well. So I also worked in the corporate world. I worked in banking, and I liked my job was good enough. But yeah, it was. I don't know. Maybe quite a lot of you have this experience where it's okay. I liked the people I worked with. The job was all right. It paid well. But something was missing. Anyhow, then I started coming along to the Buddhist Center, and at the time I came along, there was the cafe next door was a Buddhist business, and there were these women working there, and it just showed me a whole different way of life, that something else was possible in work, that people could work for reasons other than status and money. Because as far as, obviously I didn't realize this at first, but after a while what I realized was that there were these really lovely women actually working for very little money, and they seemed, really happy. And also, I think what was important to me was they didn't feel like they were completely on the fringes of society either. They seemed quite normal, they didn't... they didn't look extreme. They seemed a bit like me. So I felt quite inspired by that idea. I also imagined that they always got on really well, that they had endless patience, that they never fell out with each other, that, I imagined a sort of utopian work life where if I worked there, my needs and wants and desires and spiritual growth and everything would be paramount to everybody else. Anyway, so that was the idea. By the time I was ready to leave the job I was in, because I think there is always a transition period. It is always quite a big deal leaving a secure environment for an unknown, even if it seems like a utopian unknown. So it did take quite a while to psych myself up to leave. And then by the time I did, actually, that business was no longer it was still a business, but it was no longer run by Buddhists. It was no longer run as a team-based right livelihood business. So, so then I think they had, I'm not sure how the idea initially came about, but, I'd also, so I thought, I'd start something up. And at the time of thinking about starting something up, I had no idea what it was I wanted to do. I liked Jnana. I didn't have a sense of vocation. I didn't have this thing I really wanted to do. When I imagined the sorts of things I might like doing, I couldn't imagine any of them making money. And then I think it was a throwaway comment of Subhadramati's actually, who, and it was quite a, anyway, I can't remember the sequence of events, but she said something about charity shop. And I realized that I'd always, I loved charity shops. Actually, I'm from South Africa. We don't have charity shops in South Africa. And one of the things I loved about England, and London in particular, was just, was charity shops. So they were something I knew really well. I mean, from a shopper's point of view. I had a lot of experience of charity shopping. But when it actually came to setting up a charity shop, obviously I had no idea. And definitely, I think this is where I learnt about really what team-based right livelihood really is in practice, and actually what it really is so much better than what I imagined it was. So what it really is challenging, it's difficult, you bump up against people, but also you're committed to working things out. So I started Lamas with Padmalila. I don't think we were naturally drawn to each other as friends. I had certainly heard that most people who start a business together, you've got an 80% chance of failure. And that really is because you have different ideas about how things are done. And when we started it, that 80% failure, I realised why it was so high, because really it is quite hard. And that's when things are going well, because actually we were really fortunate with Lamas. The London Buddhist Centre owned the building, so we had a premises to go into, and we had a lot of support. You know, we had so much goodwill, we had so many people wanting it to work. And also, I think, being Buddhist and having the precepts and a real commitment to honest communication, but not just honest communication actually, also harmonious communication and spiritual friendship. I think those things really helped, because actually Buddhist businesses also fall apart because people can't get on. So somewhere you have to have a commitment to working things through and to staying in there when you can't get on, and also be willing to ask for outside help. Actually, Jnanavacha and Surya did mediation between Padma-Lila and I. So, you know, we did have to get outside help. And also other people, you know, we started off with just two of us. But then after a while, Shantavadri joined us. She really helped things because she had a lot of experience working in evolution. So we got a lot. We did get outside help as well. I've completely gone off track. But anyway, I do want to say a bit about how we. Well, at the moment we're looking to set up a second shop. So what's really good about this is it's made me think about what are the important factors when looking to start up a charity shop in particular. So maybe a retail business. Maybe these things will translate into a retail business. But so Lamas Pyjamas, just to give you the figures, so we've been going for 10 years now, and in that time, we've taken over £1,300,000 in takings, and of that, it's a bit more than this actually, but just rounding off, £430,000 of that has been dana. And in fact, it's more than that because that's excluding gift aid. So gift aid is a government incentive, so the charity can get tax back, and it's roughly £20,000 a year extra. So on top of that, £430,000, it's 10 times an extra £20,000. So it's a substantial sum of money, and I would never ever have believed that like a charity shop could make so much money. But it's interesting to compare the two figures as well. So actually 2/3 of the money we take goes into running costs, and all our stock is free. So it's a really I was surprised at how much of a business's income goes into sustaining the business, and you know a lot of it goes into staff, and we're really low cost. Honestly, I think when you take our support package, we come in at something like £13,000 a year. So it's really low, anyhow, that's just a sort of, your running costs are much higher than you expect. So now we're looking for a second shop, and the factors, the factors that we're taking into account are location. And the location's not necessarily obvious, because one of the things is footfall, which is the number of people that go past your shop. And our current shop, I wouldn't have thought was very good in terms of footfall. We're not on a busy high street. But there are other factors you can look at which are perhaps not so obvious. And so we've got 3 schools close by, we've got a housing office close by, we've got a doctor's, and there's a hospital not too far. So people who work in the area will be your main customer base. And then we get a lot of, it's an area that has changed quite a lot. So actually the area is becoming more affluent. So it means we get a lot of very good donations. And you really need good donations because people will keep coming back. Well, if you're a charity shop, people keep coming back because of your donations. And then the way we run the shop is really important as well, because most of your business is going to be repeat business. And this might be true of any business, actually. A good, I would say, 60% of your business are going to be repeat business. So you have to build up a relationship with the people coming to your business. And with us, it means that if they're going to keep coming into our shop, we have to have a high turnover. So even if things don't sell, we've got a 2-week rollover period. So we'll only have things on the shop floor for 2 weeks. So we have to build relationships with people donating, as well as people coming into the shop. So that's really important. And suddenly 15 minutes is really quick, because I wanted to say a little bit about the effect that working in team-based right livelihood has had on me. And I think I'll just pick out 2 things. And they're both to do with confidence. So one is to do with self-confidence. And I think that comes from taking a step from trusting my own that feeling when you first come into contact with the Dharma and you realize that it is something, it is important. And I think it is very easy to not trust that, or to somehow other things can get in the way of that. So I trusted that and changed my whole life to orientate it around that. And that has given me enormous confidence in my ability to trust what is true. And then the second thing is it's given me enormous confidence in the Dharma. By following this path, my life has just become so much happier. I feel like it has meaning. I can look out of my window and see a wren and sitting on a tree, and I really notice it, and I feel this sense of pure happiness in a way that I didn't have before. I can bump up against people at work, and we use Dharmic principles. We try and live our life in accordance with the 5 precepts, and it really works. I see it works for me. I see it works for other people, and I remember hearing our teacher Bhante Sangharachita saying, we overestimate how much we can change in a year, and we sort of look for those quick changes, but we underestimate how much we can change in 10 years. And I think I've been working in this business now for 10 years, and I can really see the change in myself and other people in 10 years, and it is enormous, and it really is it is the Dharma, it really is the Dharma. So thank you.